Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be starting our new unit on probability. These are the materials that you're probably going to want to have in front of you right now. Your math notebook, if you have it available. If not, definitely some loose leaf paper. We're going to be doing some definitions to kick off our unit so that we're all on the same page with vocabulary. A pen or a pencil, and I think that should do it. So if you need to, please pause this video to go get the materials that you need. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and resume. All right. Okay, so probability. Probability is the likelihood of the occurrence of an event. The probability of event A is written as P for probability with the parentheses around A. A is going to be whatever is the thing we're predicting the probability of. Probabilities are always going to be a numerical value between 0 and 1 inclusive, which means that the probability of an event could be 0 and it also could be 1, but it could also be any fraction or decimal in between. Here's how we calculate probability. Probability is going to be equal to the number of ways an event can occur over the number of possible outcomes. The most common way to write a probability is in fraction form. Here's an example. The probability of rolling a 5 on a number cube. The notation would be written as P with a 5 in parentheses, which reads the probability of a 5 will be equal to 1 because there is only one number 5 on a number cube, over 6 because there are 6 possible numbers that the number cube could land on. So the probability of rolling a 5 on a number cube is 1/6. So there are 4 basic rules of probability. Number 1 we've already talked about. For any event A, the probability will be between 0 and 1. And the probability could include the numbers 0 and 1. Number 2, the probability of an impossible event will be 0. So if something is impossible, it cannot happen, the probability will be equal to 0. Number 3, the probability of a sure event equals 1. That means that it is guaranteed to happen. If an event is guaranteed to happen, the probability of it happening will be equal to 1. Here's an example. The sun will rise. The probability that the sun will rise is equal to 1 because even if it's cloudy, the sun will still rise. Number 4, the probability of not A is equal to 1 minus the probability of A. What this really refers to is the complement of an event. We'll talk more about complements of events later. Okay, an experiment. When we're dealing with probability, an experiment is a situation involving chance that leads to results or outcomes. An event is a set of possible outcomes resulting from a particular experiment. So you're going to hear the words experiment and event referred to in our lessons. An outcome. An outcome is a single specific possible result of an experiment. So here are some examples. If the experiment is tossing or flipping a coin, the outcomes that are possible are landing on heads or landing on tails. Here's another experiment, rolling a 6-sided die or a number cube. The possible outcomes when you roll a die are landing on a 1, landing on a 2, landing on a 3, landing on a 4, landing on a 5, or landing on a 6. So there are a total of 6 possible outcomes. Sample space. Sample space refers to a list of all possible outcomes of an experiment. There is a specific way to write sample space, and it looks like this. S for sample space is equal to, and then you're going to notice that in front and behind the possible outcomes are the brackets. So the correct notation is to use those brackets, and then inside the brackets record any possible outcomes. Earlier, I referred to the complement of an event. So the complement of an event is defined as all outcomes that are not the event. Okay, we can calculate the complement of an event by doing 1 minus the probability of that particular event. Here are some examples just to get your head wrapped around what a complement of an event is. Example 1. The complement of flipping heads on a coin would be flipping tails. Example 2. The complement of rolling a 6 on a number cube would be rolling anything except a 6. Example 3. The complement of randomly choosing Monday or Tuesday as days of the week would be choosing any day except Monday and Tuesday, so that would include Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Let's take a look at a couple examples. Here are 2 examples of calculating the probability when rolling a number cube or a die. The probability of rolling a 4 on a number cube. Remember that probability is calculated by finding the number of ways an event can occur, okay, over the number of possible outcomes. So there's only one way to roll a 4 on a number cube because there's only one side of the die that contains the 4 dots. The number of possible outcomes when rolling a number cube is 6. There are 6 different numbers you could land on. So the probability of rolling a 4 on a number cube is equal to 1/6. The probability of rolling an odd number on a number cube is our next example. So there are 3 ways that that can happen because 1 is an odd number, 3 is an odd number, and 5 is an odd number. So the probability of rolling an odd number is 3 ways that that could happen over 6 possible things that can happen. If our fraction is a number that can be simplified, we should always do that. So the probability of rolling an odd number is equal to 1/2. All right, let's take a look at a different type of example. This time we're going to look at a spinner problem. So just in case I have any colorblind friends out there, sections 1 and 8 of the spinner are purple, 2 and 3 are yellow, 4, 5, and 6 are blue, and 7 is red. Our first example is to take a look at what is the probability of landing on a purple section. So there are 2 ways that that could happen. I could land on 1 or 8, which are both purple, over 8 possible outcomes that I could land on altogether. So my probability is 2/8, which I can simplify to be 1/4. All right, next, let's take a look at calculating the probability of landing on a blue section. Blue sections are in 4, 5, and 6. So that means there are 3 ways this can happen out of 8 possible sections we could land in. And since 3/8 cannot be simplified, that's it. That's our probability, 3/8. All right, last example. What is the complement of landing on a blue section? There's actually 2 ways to think about finding the complement. One way of thinking about it is, remember the video referred to not A. We're going to call this one not landing on blue. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that we don't land on blue out of 8 altogether. The other way to calculate the complement is by calculating 1 minus the probability of landing on blue. So that would be 1 minus 3/8, as we calculated the probability of landing on blue to be 3/8. In order to subtract, I'm going to change 1 to 8/8. 8/8 minus 3/8 is equal to 5/8. So the complement of landing on a blue section has a probability of 5/8. All right, you guys, thanks for listening. I think you guys have enough to get started on your homework. Please check your teacher's documents for what homework you should be working on after this. Have a great day.